Hello, this is I Do Damage and welcome back to the channel. In this Code Vein video I want to do a final review and if I think you should buy the game or wait. This video is going to be pretty straightforward and straight to the point. Let's go ahead and start. First of all, they said that Code Vein would take around 40 hours to beat. Well, I beat the game in right at 20 hours and I think the game could be beaten under 20 hours if you're going for a speed run. The game does offer New Game Plus if that's something that you're into. For me personally, I beat the story once. Maybe in the future when we see DLCs or something like that, maybe in the future I'll end up doing a New Game Plus run. I'm not quite sure yet. But let's go ahead and talk about the game overall. And first I want to talk about the combat. So the things that I really like about the combat in Code Vein is overall the combat does feel pretty fluid, especially when you're comboing your skills and your attacks together. It feels really nice. But overall, the combat in general is pretty easy as long as you know how to dodge. As long as you know when to dodge and pull back and heal up and kind of play smart, the combat is pretty easy, like I said. And when I was talking about how fluid the combat is, a lot of the skills are really cool. And it really makes getting new skills exciting because then you have something to try out in combat. It just makes combat feel nice to have all these different options. I think all in all there's maybe 50 skills total. You can have 8 active skills and 4 passive skills equipped at one time. But the biggest setbacks when it comes to combat is the camera. The camera is janky, as I said in my first impressions video, and sometimes it can get hung up or like super zoomed in, which is just really annoying. You can always just not target the enemy and kind of free camera if you want. That sometimes makes combat actually a little bit better when you don't lock on. And the last thing I wanted to comment on when it comes to combat is I went keyboard and mouse for Code Vein. Usually when I played other games that are similar, I used a controller. But for this game, I just wanted to see how the keyboard and mouse would feel for this review. And I beat the whole game using the keyboard and mouse. I didn't have a ton of issues. There's a few little things that are just a little annoying, but it seems like overall it was more meant for a controller, but keyboard and mouse is definitely doable. The next thing I want to talk about when it comes to Code Vein is the level design. This is a pretty big aspect of these types of games. And overall, I love the maps and the layouts. It really seems like it would cater to a PvP style of game as well. Sadly, Code Vein does not offer PvP, but the maps overall are really cool and it gives more of a sense to go and explore the map and try to find everything. Because you don't want to miss out on the rewarding vestiges, which is how you get new blood codes and skills. So exploring those maps really is worth your time. But the overall best part of Code Vein is builds and theory crafting and figuring out different play styles. This is by far my favorite part of the game. There's many different builds. I think I've came across maybe 15 different blood codes, which are classes in Last Epoch essentially. And as I said before, I think I said there's 50 skills. There might even be more. I'm sure I haven't found all of them, but there's anywhere from a charge ability to a cleave ability, a stealth ability, a healing ability. I mean, it's just, there's a lot. Buffs, debuffs. It's crazy how many builds you can actually do in this game. Maybe in the future, if I really get back into Code Vein, I'll make some build videos or something like that. But overall, my first playthrough felt really easy. There was a few parts that were a little challenging. When it comes to overall difficulty, this game's not super difficult like I had expected it to be. So what would a review video be without talking about the story? So that's what we're going to talk about next. And the story in this game I felt the story was really long and kind of drawn out a lot. And really I'm not surprised by that as it is anime inspired. But the thing with the story being so long and drawn out is I actually felt that it really interrupted the gameplay and the moment-to-moment combat and enemy encounters. But overall, when it comes to story, the story is indeed interesting. It's a decent story. I think in my review I gave it a 6 out of 10, and that was when I was about 8 hours in. But now that I've completed the story, I think I'll bump it up to about a 7 out of 10. I just really kind of like just the fantasy of the story and just the way it really played out. It was really cool to try to kind of guess what was going to happen next. I really enjoyed the story. But it's not going to win any awards or anything like that. And my biggest complaint about the story was when you would get new vestiges and have to walk down, I called it memory lane. It's where you slow motion down and you regain these memories, and then at the end you get the new blood code and skills associated with it, which makes these slow walks down memory lane required, and you can't skip them. It just really felt bad and really seemed to slow down the pace of the game for me personally. But as I said, overall I'd give the story a 7 out of 10. Last but not least in this review, I want to talk about what was one of the number one things that I was excited to check out in this game, and that's multiplayer. Code Vein offers up to 2-player online co-op, and you can also have a third, but it's an NPC, it's not an actual player. So you can have 2-player characters and an NPC in one game. So it's definitely interesting how they've handled multiplayer, and overall it's fun, and it's rather seamless. The loading screens are a little bit long, and there's a few issues with it, but overall it's fun and rewarding. They have a system in place that the more that you co-op, you get these marks of honor, and I think that once you get a total of 400, that's the max amount for the top reward. But all the way throughout, there's like titles, there's portraits, I think there's even at one point a skill, but it's all just really cool cosmetic unlocks for co-op to kind of show off how much you've helped other players. So if that's your thing, you can do that. It's there. There's a lot really to unlock, but it's fun. And my biggest issue with co-op or multiplayer in general is it just makes the game way too easy. Maybe I should try a solo playthrough, and maybe I would think the game's a lot more difficult. But overall, I co-opted the majority of the game, and it felt like, for the most part, a cakewalk. Another issue I have with multiplayer, not as big of a problem, but still annoying nonetheless, is when you're in co-op, you can't rest at a missile or a bonfire. You have to kick the player out and then rest by yourself and then have a different player join. I really don't like that. I feel rude, like someone's helped me get up to this bonfire and I'm going to kick them out. I really wish that they could just stay, rest with me, and we both just rest back up and then carry on our multiplayer journey. Also, you can't use healing upgrade items. They're one-time use and it upgrades your potions basically, but you cannot use them if there's another player in your game, and that just doesn't make sense to me. It does not make sense. And also, even less of an issue, but still it's there, is when a player joins, while you're waiting for them to actually connect to your game and waiting for them to go through the loading screen, you can't loot or do anything during that time. You can kill monsters, but that's about it. And then when they do finally join, there's about a 3 to 5 second full-on game freeze, and it just freezes right where you're at until they finally join in. Again, really minor stuff, but in the end it really does impact my review because it was just these annoying little things that just kind of added up. But all in all, if you've made it this far, I know you're wondering, should you buy Code Vein for $60 right now on Steam? And my answer is no. I would wait. I would wait for a sale on Code Vein. I think for $60 for only getting 20 hours out of a game is not great value. Obviously, you can get more if you really enjoy the game for what it is and the new game plus and builds. You could get more than 20 hours out of the game. But if I were you, I would wait for a sale, maybe some DLCs, maybe there'll be a cool bundle here in a few months. I don't know. I wouldn't pay a full $60 for this game right now, though. But that's going to be it for my review. Again, I want to thank Shaori for hooking me up with this game. Big shout out to you. Thank you so much. And thank you to everyone else that continues to support the channel and continues supporting me in making these videos, guys. I'm having a blast doing it. If you enjoyed this video, please do like and subscribe and check out the links down below for more of my social medias. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. My battery's